Get up, stand up, fight for your rights. Good morning. It's time to get to work. Get up, eat that bagel, eat that crap you'd eat every morning. I'm at my mom's right now. I'm staying at my mom's basement dweller at age 26. Let's get this bread. I'm thinking about changing my hair so that it goes forward on my head, because this is accidental, but I'm starting to not hate the look, and I'm starting to not want to have my hair parted, so we'll see what happens with that. Silly, self-centered observations aside, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope life's going okay. Little update on me. Basically, right now, I'm in a cocoon form. Cocoon form has engaged because for the last year, probably, I've been really sick of the art that I'm making, if it can even be called that. I think whatever creativity and interesting elements of the things that drive me artistically died at least a year ago when I started needing to do sponsored videos and churn out content, commentary, YouTube. Real sicko shit. I didn't think it would happen to me, but then it did. And so I've hated it for a while. This last video I did on my bigger video on my channel, I did, there's a lot of things I like about it, but also it is to me a fence post, a signpost as to the fact that I want to change up what I'm doing and rediscover a creativity spark, because I used to do a lot of shit that kind of just came naturally. When I was a kid, I made little sketches on with like a little Casio camera that had a little editing software in it. I did music videos where when I was in the moment and enjoying it, I felt like a lot of the stuff that I made I was really proud of, and it was really just pure creativity and new. I felt like I was making things that were new. A similar thing happened there when I started actually like monetizing it, that the whole entire thing changed. That should have been a sign of things to come. But with YouTube, it was that times 1,000. You're a product of your influences, and on YouTube, I didn't really have much context or influences. I kind of just came out of nowhere and wasn't all that familiar with what was going on. I watched some things here and there, but none of it exactly mapped onto my own situation. And so, long story short, I'm staying at my mom's probably for a month or two. I'm probably gonna do some gardening and things like that because I'm just home, chilling, surfing the web. That's my job. And while my parents are out working, I can just kind of do stuff around the house, I don't know, whatever. It's really a strange feeling discovering that despite being in a position that I once wanted to be in, I still feel as stuck as I was at times of, being stuck before being where I'm at now. Holy shit, what am I trying to say? The type of being stuck I'm talking about is better in that there's some form of stability, but it's worse because pursuing that stability is a need to produce. And since I'm not all that great with business things, like I don't have merch set up, my Patreon, I don't really engage with it all that much, and I should. It creates a situation where I have to produce even if I don't want to, and that fucking sucks. And if I'm contrasting that with like when I lived at my grandma's and was doing music videos and was kind of just fucking around doing different art stuff, the demand to produce wasn't there, and from that I was kind of able to experiment, and I'm yearning or longing for another experimental phase. So that's what I'm in right now. It's just kind of like dialing things back, seeing if I can discover a way of doing this job or creating this content that actually fulfills me and brings me enjoyment. It's not to say I've been wasting all my time, but in hindsight now, my slop meeting the standards of adequacy for a big slop trough isn't something to be necessarily all that proud of. If it pays the bills, that's fine, but I don't know. Y'all know what I'm saying? The most fun I've had in the last, period of time in terms of creating stuff has been some videos on this channel that are kind of just a little random and a little bit thrown together with different elements of the types of stuff I like to do. That's been fun. It's been less formulaic. I wrote a big list down of all of my influences, my artistic influences that I've kind of ignored and not really refreshed or engaged with in a long time in terms of like consuming good art, things that I think are funny, things that I think are interesting, things that I think look cool and look good. And part of this discovery period is reconnecting with that instead of consuming the type of content that I have been, which is just not good or fulfilling or interesting, but it's what I have, first of all, needed to consume for work. And if I'm making a video about some dumb shit on the internet, then I have to watch a bunch of dumb shit on the internet. Feeling very cynical, probably overcorrecting in this regard because I still, I want to get back to living where I was living and other things like that. But for now, we're gonna stay in the cocoon, stay in the incubator and see what's going on. If you notice in the back there, kind of hard to see, but there's big long grass over there. And one of the videos I have planned is to mow that all down. Although right now, it's kind of like, it's nice, it's very foresty and interesting and frolicky. I can show some footage now of what it looks like when you walk through. But kind of like I'm mowing my mom's yard for free, which is, there's an asterisk there because I'm getting meals here, so it's not free. but it's an exchange relationship, a market economy in this home. The main, or I guess equally important focus for me from spending time at home is that growing up, I didn't spend that much time with my family. I lived at home in high school, and I mean, obviously throughout school, but I was the person who was kind of in my room. Relatives come over, I say what's up, then go back to my room. That's just, I think, common experience for a lot of people. Social anxiety and just not kind of trained in the art of socializing with family or friends. And there's a lot of lost time that I feel like I need to make up for. Not in a regrets kind of way, but in a like, oh, since being back, I've tried to say yes to every opportunity of doing things and, watching shows or spending time or really just reconnecting with family and friends. I went to my younger sister's track meet like 4 days ago. She's in middle school. And I was just thinking about how, I played sports. My siblings all went to my games, but I rarely went to theirs, which is kind of in hindsight, a shitty thing that, people spend time and care about you and support you, and then you don't reciprocate that support. And for why? For what reason? I don't know. As much as I here want to interject all of my myriad of mental illnesses and things, sometimes I think it's okay to just say, damn, I was kind of a shitty person. I still deal with mental health stuff, and I am treated for it for the most part, and that's been pretty good as of late. But having that happen won't automatically fix the behaviors that make me sort of antisocial. And those are behaviors I do want to fix. Coming back from spending a lot of time alone in a different country, giving me a lot of time to reflect on my life. There's a hawk, and it's circling the home because it wants to get my cat. Oh, I gotta kill a hawk. That is so spooky. Let me see if I can get this on camera. Part of the trip was kind of going monk mode and not pursuing dating, because I think my relationship with dating hasn't been all that healthy for me. Kind of a mindless pursuit to make myself feel better, to fill the void with short relationships and things. And in taking that pause, kind of realizing, okay, these are things that I can work on while pursuing dating. It doesn't have to be like I have to wait 5 years until the therapy meter is at 100% and then I can go try and find someone to date and get married to and have kids with or some shit. No, it's okay to just kind of figure it out along the way. Try and keep track of the parts of myself that can be selfish and can be uncaring and just kind of in my own little bubble, in my own little box. And when you're dating somebody, that you gotta kind of open up the box and let somebody in, and it's hard if you don't know really how to do that, and if it's more comfortable to not do that. I've been walking a lot, I've been reading a lot, I've been spending a lot of time in nature, touching grass, etc., etc. And for the first time, it's felt very intentional, not just a product of circumstances, not just, oh, my dad is dragging me out of the house when I'm a 10-year-old to go mountain biking or just camping or some stuff. It's like, no, I want to be the one to pursue that on my own and with people, because I am beginning to see the value in it, which is a positive step. For a long time I felt like I was just not the type of person. I'm just like, oh, some static individual that can't force myself to become someone that will provide that engagement with the world and with people and some form of community on my own. But I think it's an environment change, a product of reflection, of seeing this, parts of my life, these parts of my life that I'm not particularly happy with, aren't fixed. They aren't a reflection of some intrinsic characteristics or some cellular molecular makeup of who I am. It's all stuff that's product of circumstances and that can be alleviated in time. I'm definitely feeling a little more at peace right now, it's nice. There's a lot of parts of me that I've discovered in the last couple of years that I have a consumerist streak, I have an individualist streak, I have a hyper-capitalist streak, all these streaks inside of me that have manifested in things that I don't like just buying shit or like just going to be alone because it makes me feel like I'm accomplished, because I have a job that, allows me to just go off and do my own thing at the behest of community, and just buying shit at the behest of being smart about planning out my life, and also mainly with the trade-off that anything you think you want that's like a special cool thing becomes instantly not cool once you have used it for a few months and discover that, oh, that's just kind of like the thing I had before, but with some fancier bells and whistles. And if you have a Toyota Camry with 70,000 miles that was your grandma's, don't sell it and buy a nice car. Don't do that. Keep the Camry. Okay, it's my sister's now, so I didn't completely get rid of it, but ideally, if it's just you getting rid of it for something nicer, don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you have 4 kids. 3 kids, you can fit them all. 4 kids, logistically speaking, you can't put one of them in the trunk, so you could, but it would have to be one of the smaller ones, and they're the more likely ones to have, like, soft bones, and if they're bouncing around in there, have some sort of injuries. I'm going to read off the list of stuff that I want to consume, artistic influences this month, and see if it helps me come up with things or think of new ways to produce art. There's people on YouTube I need to add to this list, but right now these are just the non-YouTube things. Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, the talk show, cartoon talk show. Reggie Watts, live performances. There's like 70 of them on YouTube. All amazing. YouTube poop, just all the YouTube poops. Fleabag, a little bit different than the previous one, but still great. British panel shows like 8 out of 10 cats. They're pretty funny. They have a lot of them on YouTube, and there's good bits in there. Mostly because the comedians play different kind of characters, or the comedians are characters, and they are playing themselves, but the comedy styles of the different comedians kind of makes for a nice, fun situation. As an aside, the video essays I've been making have been entirely too literal and direct, and I'm not happy with that. I want to take the stuff that I used to be interested in and incorporate it into the sort of structure of video essays, if that's something I want to continue doing, because it's just like unseasoned chicken breast. I've never learned how to create a chicken breast, so the part of the process of learning that means focusing on the breast more than the seasoning. But now it's time. It feels like time to go to the store and get the spice rack going. In Bruges, it's just a movie that is like one of my favorite movies, really funny. There's probably a lot of more black comedies that I should add to this, but that's just the first one that came to mind. For interviews, Nardwuar and Channel 5, which Channel 5 is like more than just interviews, but those just came to mind. I guess Hot Ones could kind of go on here, but not really. Conceptual interview wise, Hot Ones. Eric Andre. I haven't actually watched all of Eric Andre. I've seen a lot of it from clips and then like a few episodes, so that's something I need to watch. And then Tim and Eric. And Tom Goes to the Mayor, which is Tim and Eric's first show, which I think it's basically like VTuber satire. Not satire of VTubers, but the format style is like cutout portraits of people doing comedy bits and sketches and characters, and it's very funny. I haven't watched all of it, but there's all sorts of ways you can present ideas, and in the last video I did, I used like this. I used photos of myself as a kid, which a lot of people found weird, and that's fine, I get that, but part of it was switching between them in accordance with the dialogue, as kind of like, oh, this is an avatar saying different things. You say something silly, you make a silly face. You say something weird, you make a weird face. You cut around those, and that's, I thought that was kind of fun, and that's just along the lines of this show that I just mentioned, just conceptually similar, but very much more fleshed out in a show like that. So just different ideas that are in my head. Reggie Watts is like one of my favorite sort of artists, because it's sort of a absurdist, surrealist comedy. There's really nothing else like it to me, and I think in a context of YouTube where comedy, there's a lot of great stuff, but the current space that I'm operating within is quite literal, or the comedy is very direct. And so if I start just saying stupid shit that I think is funny, but it's stupid in a way that's not necessarily like intentionally funny stupid, it's just like I don't even know if what is this person saying, which sometimes I think is funny, but a lot of people don't. And when people like react to my content and don't think it's funny, that's not a normal, like watching someone in front of hundreds of thousands of people just be like, this shit sucks. It's different than like going to a show and doing a performance and then some people liking it and others not, or just going to a show and the crowd bombing, right? It's the same thing. It's negative feedback, but it's in a context that feels much more personal and strange. I'm sure comedians would definitely say that bombing on stage is a very personal thing, because you're putting out your personal thoughts and jokes. So perhaps not the best comparison, but it's definitely a strange feeling seeing that. And I would assume stranger than telling jokes that aren't funny and bombing, because it's more like, oh, that makes sense, like this is why the joke didn't work, blah blah blah. But sometimes if you're just putting your soul into some piece of work that no one is going to understand, that's the same thing. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to make it woe is me to being a YouTuber versus being a comedian. It's all the same shit in different forms. So anyways, that's probably all I gotta say. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm just gonna do more front phone camera type updates because these are easier to do. And yeah, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. So windy. Bye.